So I'm setting this to 12 by 8.5, right? And this is going to be the front cover, the spine, and the back cover. So that, and then I want the resolution to be 300 dpi. Now what I would do is I would work in RGB color, and then when I finished the piece of art, I would export it to CMYK. And I'm going to make the background contents white. So we've done this enough time that you understand what transparent pixels mean. And when I'm looking at the contents as white, it's really transparent. It's just easier for me to understand what's going on when I make it white. Okay, so I click create. Okay, so here's my canvas. Now, when you go to view, you have the ability to turn on rulers. So I go down, I click rulers, view rulers. And those rulers help me to measure stuff. So I can right click inside the rulers and I can set the rulers to pixels, inches. Usually it's pixels or inches, right? And so I'm going to set the rulers to inches, okay? Now, what I want to do first is mark off the dimensions of my my trim, the actual book. So what I do is I just click and I'm going to drag that out and snap it onto the edges of the book like so. And then for the top rulers, I grab it from the top here, and I'm going to drag one and set it down here. I can't see. Get this out the way. Now, if I get one of these and I can't move it, I go up to view, rulers, let's see, snap to, lock guides, clear guides. Let's see, I don't want to lock it. I should be able to grab it with the move tool. Yes, and then snap that on. And I'll grab one and drag it down. Now, why am I doing that? Because this is the actual dimensions of the document as it's printed. But what I need to do is create a bleed. Okay. So before I do that, the next thing I'm going to do is mark off the interior. So what are the dimensions they gave? 5.5 inches. So I'm going to grab the ruler and mark off 5.5 inches here. And then I need to grab the other ruler and move that in 5.5 inches from the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Wait, that's not right. 1.5. There we go. So it should be right there. Okay, so that's still a pretty thick spine. So remember that spine is a variable. Okay, so now we've marked off our back region. We've marked off our spine, and we've marked off our front cover. And then inside of that, what I would do is I would set a safe area. So let's set it to about, I'm just going to eyeball this. Something like this would be your safe area. So the idea is that nothing important should go outside of that safe area. Okay.
Hey, excuse me, can you turn on your history panel so we can see, please?
My history, window history?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay. And then I'm going to set up a guide on the other side as well, something like this. Okay, so how is this set up? So far we have our safe area, we have the trim, and now we need to create the what did I say? The bleed. So to add the bleed in Illustrator, it's easier to do this. In Photoshop, it's easier to do this. But you can do it in InDesign, it's easier to do this, but you can do it in Photoshop. So I'm going to go to image, I'm going to go to canvas size, and here's our canvas dimensions. I'm going to go to percent, and I'm just going to add like 105% on to the edge of the document. Okay, so that came out black. So let me undo it, do it again. Let's make it 100. So let's make that. So when you create a document, it would be a certain percentage of the, it's usually like 0.15 inches or something like that. But I'm just kind of, let's set it. And then I'm going to make the canvas extension color white. So it's the same color as, and I'm typing 104% by 104%. There we go. So now, this is our bleed. Everybody with me? So that's how I would set up this document. Here's our bleed, here's the trim, and here's the safe area. Does everybody understand? Okay, anytime you're creating a print document, you're going to need to have those elements. You're going to have the bleed, the trim, and the safe area. So nothing important goes, everything important stays within here. This is the edge of the, this is the document that, this is the document's edge where it's going to be trimmed. And then anything that I want to bleed off the page has to go all the way out to here. Okay, so now I'm ready to start creating my art. So you can save this as a template. I'll save as book template. Now you can go to the internet and you can download templates too. And I'll show you how to do that when we work in Illustrator. Okay, so I'm just going to save that. So that's my template. So if I end up designing more than one book, I can reuse this, right? Lots of times when you go to printers, they'll have templates already made. So let's go to that folder. I made a folder for this project called book cover. And the first thing I want to grab is this picture of this dune. So I'm going to double click and open that. And I'm going to measure it. I'm going to go to image size, and it's, and what I need to do is I need to figure out how large this would be for print. So I'm going to uncheck resample and type in 300. And let's set this to inches. And I can print this document at 12 by 8 inches. So that's almost exactly the same size as my cover. So it's large enough for me to use for print. Does everybody understand how I did that? So now I'm going to select all, edit copy, go to my book template, and I'm going to choose edit paste. And it's on a separate layer. Let's zoom out a little bit, control minus. And what I want to do, move this out of the way, is I can scale this up a little bit. So you don't want to scale something over, say, 15 or 20%, and this is right in that number. So we can get away with scaling this. Edit free transform. And then I can scale this up. Actually, I could even scale it disproportionately, but we can make it proportionate. Okay, so there's the background for my book. So we're doing Dune.
Sorry, how did you set that safe area?
What I did was I drew another set of rules that are like a quarter of an inch inside of the trim area.
Okay, got it.
Right. So you want your trim, you want your safe, and you want your bleed. And then this is the background for my artwork. So now let's put on our text. So that, you know, and remember those fonts really are important. And I use this font called Cormorant Infant, and I type the word Dune. And that looks really cool. And I'm going to commit it, and then I'm going to make it nice and big. So let's set this to, let's make it even bigger. Let's set it to 200. Oh, too big. Let's set it to 150. And let's position that. Let's see how that looks. Still just a little too big. Let's double click and set it to 125. Okay, there we go. So that looks pretty good. I'm just going to place that here. And then let's put the text by Frank Herbert. So I'm going to type in Frank Herbert. Let's set the font to about 48. Anybody ever read that book? No sci-fi fans? Then I'm going to type by, put that in a separate line. Actually, that doesn't need to be capped. Okay. Okay. So now I can do things. I can play with, I just happen to be working in here and I like this font. Let's go down to that font. I could add like a drop shadow. Let's apply a drop shadow to it. Here we go. And let's, that looks cool. All right. Now here's the cool thing is that now that I've added this effect, I can add it to the text. If I come down to drop shadow, where it says drop shadow, I right click and I choose copy layer style. Then I click on the text here, I right click and choose paste layer style. Okay, and it looks like it's a little too extreme here, so I can double click, open that, and peel it back a little bit more. And then I could do the same thing by adding it to by, right click, paste layer style. Okay, good. Now, we need to have the text over here on the left and the right, so I'm gonna copy it. So I'm gonna grab the text Dune, and I'm gonna drag it down to the make new layer button and copy it. And then I'm going to take the text, I'm gonna go to edit, transform, rotate 90 degrees clockwise, and then I'll place that on the spine, and I need to make that smaller. I'll double click and let's set that to 60. There we go. And then we'll place that on the spine, somewhere like that. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for his name here. So I can right click and find that layer. Then I'm gonna copy it. Then I'm gonna flip it 90 degrees clockwise, place that here, and then let's make it smaller. And so let's set that to 24. That looks good. And we'll move that down and center it. And then we'll do the same thing with the word by. And I'm going to copy that, flip it, and place that here. And then we need to make that the same size as the text for his name. And then we'll position that where we want it to go. Something like that. Okay, so now we've got our, now we need to copy the text over to the back of the book too. So I'm going to right click and grab that. And so what I would do lots of times when I do like